What's good, YouTube? It's Justice, iusedtobepay, and today in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you guys why you should stop calling Tupac the GOAT. Now, I know this is going to be probably my most controversial video, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate on this video, a lot of dislikes, because Tupac is a legend. He's one of the GOATs. He's one of the greatest rappers of all time. He is. I'm not saying he's not. He's one of the biggest legends in the history of really pop culture, but especially hip-hop. He's probably the biggest legend in the history of hip-hop. But I just think it's time for people to stop calling Tupac the GOAT, and a very specific group of people, and that being people that are pretty much below the age of 35.
When I'm 30, how old are you going to be?
I'll be 33.
I'll be 37.
Damn!
If you're below the age of 35, I really think you shouldn't call Tupac the GOAT, but I'll explain why as we get into this video. Now, first things first, music is subjective. So there's no objective way to be right or wrong. There is no truth or falsehood about music. Like I can't prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that somebody is better than someone else or someone is worse than somebody else. It's all subjective because it's art. So whatever you like is better in your opinion. If I like Lil Pump better than Tupac, there's nothing you can do to prove me wrong. Do you want, like, I just need that to be established as I start the video. There is nothing that you could physically do or anything in this world that could prove to me that Lil Pump is worse than Tupac if I think Lil Pump's better, because I just enjoy Lil Pump's music better. You can say, oh, well, Tupac raps like this and he does this. And it doesn't matter because there's no objective measurement of quality of music. You can talk about numbers, but that's popularity. Numbers don't automatically equal quality. There are huge people, huge artists in this world who I don't really think their music's that good. So it's all subjective. It's all opinion based. There's no non-bias when it comes to who you think the GOAT is, or there's no non-bias in terms of who you think makes the best music ever, because it's all about what you like versus what you don't like. So let's just establish that now. There's no objectivity in music. This isn't basketball or football where you can look at specific stats and they can tell you whether that player was good or bad. Like, you can't do that with music. It's all subjective. It's an art form. It's what you like versus what you don't like. So to get that established, if somebody really held the opinion that Lil Pump was better than Tupac, that's their opinion. You could argue with them, you could disagree with them, and you could go back and forth. But at the end of the day, you will never be able to prove that person wrong. So I just need that to be established. And that leads me into my next point. Since music is subjective and you cannot objectively prove one artist is better than another, everything when it comes to rankings, when it comes to all-time lists, is based on your opinion and what you truly like. So yeah, you can say, oh, well, you know, Eminem has the most numbers or Drake does the most numbers now. But in terms of who you think the best rapper ever is, it's your opinion. It's what you think. It's what you like. So again, if you think Denzel Curry is way better than Drake, that is 100% a valid take, because you may not like Drake's music, but you love Denzel Curry's. And it's the same thing for the GOAT argument. The GOAT argument isn't, oh, well, you know, who had the best numbers and who has this number of Grammys and who had, that's not the GOAT argument. The GOAT argument is, who do you think makes the best rap music of all time? That's all it is. That's who do you like the most? Whose music do you think is the best? Not whose music sold the most, not whose music did the best on BET or did the BET Awards, or not whose music video has the most views. It's all about who you personally think makes the best music. So when we're talking about the GOAT, who you think the GOAT is, the GOAT has to be somebody who you think makes the best music ever. It's not just an objective answer. If I want to just give an answer of who is, you know, the biggest representative of hip hop or who's the greatest legend of all time in hip hop, yeah, I'd say Tupac. But in terms of who I think the best music creator in the history of rap is, it's not going to be Tupac. It's going to be somebody who I think makes the best music, and who you think makes the best music should be your answer. So if you think that, I don't know, Lil Nas X makes the best rap music of all time, if that's what you believe, bruh, rock with it. Don't be scared. That's the main thing about this video. A lot of people are really scared to share their true opinion, so they hide behind, oh, well, Jay-Z, oh, well, Tupac, oh, well, Biggie. No, bruh. Give your opinion. If I ask you who the GOAT is, I expect your answer to be somebody who you listen to all the time, somebody who you think has the best discography ever, somebody who you think has never missed on a project or probably hasn't ever missed on a project. I expect you to think this is damn near a perfect artist. All right. I don't want to hear what you think is the right answer. And that's the problem today. And I already know I'm going to make a lot of people upset with this video. A lot of people are going to be pissed off, but I don't care. It's the truth. You have to give your opinion. Stop giving what you think is the right opinion. Stop giving what other people say. Give your opinion. And I truly don't believe that people below the age of 35 on average are going to think Tupac makes the best music ever. So with all that being said, stop calling Tupac the GOAT. And if you're going to ask me who my GOAT is, my GOAT of rap is he who shall not be named, Mr. West.
No, there's a lot of things that I love about Hitler. A lot of things.
Yay.
I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor.
And, you know, my feelings towards Ye right now are pretty complicated. You know, 2022 was quite the year for Kanye. So, but yeah, that's my answer on who the GOAT is. So if you're going to ask me, well, who do you think is since it's not Tupac, it's him. That's my opinion. But I'm going to give you my real opinion. I'm not going to tell you so. I'm not going to say, oh, no, I'm going to give you my opinion. And if you disagree with it, you disagree. But I promise you this, it's a genuine answer. And a lot of people are going to be mad at this, but if you are not old enough to remember a Tupac song, or if you're not old enough to remember a Tupac song coming out, he can't be your GOAT. Like I just don't believe you. I don't believe you. If you were not alive for All Eyes on Me, like I don't believe you. If you weren't consciously like, man, there's a new Tupac song coming out, I can't wait to. I don't believe you. I just don't believe you. A majority of the time, sure, there are people out there who are there are people out there who are generally like my age or younger or maybe a little older who think Tupac's the GOAT. That's true. There are people like that. But for most of us, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you think a guy that died 30 years ago, that a guy that died before you could even think properly for yourself, or a guy that died before you were even born, for most of us, is the GOAT. I just don't think you believe that. I really, truly don't think in your heart of hearts, if you're being honest, you think that. And I'm just tired of the posers. And old heads should agree with me on this. I know they're going to be mad at me for saying Tupac's not the GOAT, but whatever. Old heads should agree with me on this. Stop being posers. Stop acting like you like something just to sound smart. A lot of people, when that GOAT debate comes up for rap, they'll say, oh, Tupac, Biggie, Nas. They'll just say whoever they think is the smart answer, whoever they think is going to get them brownie points from their uncle at the cookout, whoever is going to make the conversation as, you know, little confrontational as possible, as least confrontational as possible. So when they ask, you know, when your uncle comes up to you and says, hey, who's the best rapper of all time? Who do you think? You're going to be like, oh, Tupac. Because you know he's going to be like, oh, yep, that's right, nephew. Yep. See, I knew you was always smart, nephew. And then he just going to leave. He's not going to argue with you. But if you say Lil Wayne or you say Drake, then it's going to be a conversation. And that's why I think a lot of people really say it in general. I think a lot of people want to sound smart. They want to give the right answer when it comes to the GOAT debate, but there is no right answer. It's all opinion based. Now, again, if we want to talk about biggest impact, if we want to talk about most influential, if we want to talk about, you know, most award winning, those are conversations where we can really use concrete, real evidence, raw data, and look at it and say, no, well, you can't say Lil Pump because Lil Pump has never sold 100K or Lil Pump's never sold 500. Like you can't. You can do that for those arguments. But in terms of who you just think makes the best music ever, who is the greatest rapper ever, you can't use those arguments. It's all in here. It's all up here. It's all about what you like. So stop trying to give these smart answers. Stop trying to sound more educated than the next. Oh, well, the kids in my generation like to listen to mumble rap, so they'll probably say somebody like Future. But me, I think it was Tupac. I think it's pretty easy in my opinion. He was rapping about real stuff. He was actually talking about stuff on his beats. He wasn't just rapping about money, women. You get what I'm saying? Like those are the type of people I'm talking about. And that's a lot of y'all. That is a lot of y'all. And I'm going to be honest. It's no different than those white girls that people make fun of for saying, oh, I'm born in the wrong generation. I wish I was born when the Beatles were around, or I wish I was born with Nirvana or whatever. It's the same thing. You're acting in the same way because no, you really don't in your heart of hearts wish you were born when Tupac was around. You don't. You really, maybe you wish to experience it and, you know, you wish you were there, but that's not, just stop. You're a poser. You're a poser. It's no different than those girls that get made fun of for saying I was born in the wrong generation when they listen to 60s music and 70s music and act like, you know, it was just so much better than it's literally the exact same thing. So that's my problem with a lot of people calling Tupac the GOAT. I'm not mad at you if you think Tupac's the greatest rapper ever and you genuinely believe that in your heart of hearts. At the end of the day, if you compare everybody's music in rap history, you think Tupac makes the best music? Fine. I can't do anything but raise my hands and say, hey, that's your opinion. But a lot of y'all just say that to be correct. A lot of y'all just say that to give the safe answer. And that's not really what you believe. And that's got to stop. You got to stop. Like if you were born after 1996, I just don't believe that Tupac is your favorite rapper ever, because that's essentially what I'm asking you when I ask you who the GOAT is. I'm essentially asking you, who is your favorite rapper ever? It's the exact same question. Who is your favorite rapper ever? Who's the GOAT rapper? It's the exact same question. So you expect me to believe that you grew up after Tupac was dead, long after Tupac was dead, not really long after, but in terms of like when you gain consciousness, because if you're born in like 1996, you're going to start becoming like a functioning human in like 2002. So you're expecting me to believe that you grew up with all these tremendous acts, especially if you're my age. If you're below 25, you expect me to believe you grew up with all these tremendous acts, but still you're stuck on the guy who your parents grew up with. Like I don't believe it. For most people, you know, of course there are going to be exceptions, but you're expecting me to believe that if you're my age or younger, or if you're slightly older than me, you grew up with Jay-Z, Wayne, Drake, Kendrick, Cole, I can keep going, 50 Cent, Eminem, Kanye, Migos, Future, Nicki, Travis, ASAP, Tyler. Like I can continue down the list of just all time acts that debuted after Tupac, or that have debuted since I was growing up as a child. And you're going to tell me that you don't think any of those are your favorite artists. Though none of those guys are your favorite artists of all time that you've grown up with your entire life and have, you know, given you great music from the age of 9 to the age of 26. You expect me to believe that it's Tupac, who you weren't even alive for it to experience. I just have an extremely hard time believing it. Now, it's not impossible, but I just don't really believe it. Like you didn't even really get to fully experience the Tupac experience. Like, we all know that there's a difference between listening to somebody when they're alive versus when they pass away. Like it's two completely different feelings. And, you know, maybe that's not fair to artists that have passed away, but it's just the truth. You know, listening to a Pop Smoke song back in 2019 versus now, it's just two different feelings and it's two different experiences. And that's not for me to say that, you know, the music becomes worse after they pass away. It just feels different. You get what I'm saying? It's just, you're not really all the way there in the moment. You're not in that moment. You're not in that event when you're listening to somebody's music 30 years after it came out. So it definitely changes how you absorb it. It definitely changes how it sits on you. It definitely changes how the feeling feels inside you when you listen to the music. It's just a little bit different, if you get what I'm saying. And for you to have never experienced a single day on this earth where you were on the earth and Tupac was on the earth at the same time, for you to say he's the best, even though you've grown up with all these tremendous acts, it's just hard to believe. It's hard for me to really believe that Tupac is your favorite rapper ever, and you have never even shared the earth at the same time as the man. It's just like, come on now. And I know there are super big Pac fans who grew up with him. You know, their family played him all the time, and you probably didn't even know he was dead. I didn't know Tupac was dead because they just kept making new Tupac albums and playing him on the radio until I was like 10. Nah, I'm gassing it. Not 10, probably like 8 or something like that. I don't know. Whenever, yeah, it's probably about 8. Those are few and far between, in my opinion. I just think a majority of the people who say Tupac's the GOAT are posers. And if you want to compare somebody, you know, to Tupac, I would say if you look at Michael Jackson, I think it's a little bit more reasonable for people to say Michael Jackson is the GOAT compared to like Tupac's the GOAT of rap. I'm just talking about Michael Jackson as the GOAT, like musician, period. Because Michael Jackson had 30 years of sustained greatness at the top of the top of the top. Over 30 years. Tupac really had like 4 to 5 years. It's like, it's just really different. Tupac is a very era dependent artist. Like he's very specific to that era. Michael Jackson transcended multiple eras. And I mean, even I grew up with Michael Jackson. Like Michael Jackson died when I was very young, but I knew who Michael Jackson was. I love Michael Jackson's music. So even there, I think it's a little bit different to say, oh, MJ's the GOAT versus Tupac, because Tupac doesn't have that long legacy of just crazy work over 30, 40 years like MJ does. And that's not, again, I'm not trying to disrespect Tupac because he's one of the greatest rappers ever. That's not what I'm getting across in this video. I'm not trying to say Tupac's overrated or he's trash or he's not this. I'm just saying I don't believe younger people when they say Tupac is the GOAT. I just really doubt that they truly believe that in their heart of hearts. Now, MJ, it's a little different because there's 30 years of top of the line greatness to look at. And a lot of us grew up with MJ, even though he died in like 2009. A lot of us were still alive and cognizant when he was still walking this earth. So it's a little bit different. And then if you want to look at and say, oh, well, people say Michael Jordan's the GOAT and they didn't watch a single Jordan game. They didn't watch a single Jordan game. All they know is LeBron. But then again, there are also objective measurements to basketball that don't exist when it comes to rap and rap music. When objectively, I can look at, oh, Michael had 30 points per game. 30 points is pretty good. Michael had 6 championships. Oh, that's pretty, like, those are objective measurements of greatness that can be applied to how good of a quality of player Michael Jordan was. I can't look at any objective measurements of rap and say that those automatically apply to how quality Tupac's music was, if you get what I'm saying. You have to be a good player to average 30 points. You have to. That's an absolute requirement. You cannot be a bad player and score 30 points on 50% from the field. But for rap, you can be a bad rapper and still do crazy numbers. Now, not to say that Tupac was a bad rapper, but I'm just saying there's a little bit of a difference in their qualifications and what they actually mean. The objective measurements in basketball can objectively show you how good, to a certain extent, how good a player was. While in music, that's just not the case. And there have been so many great rappers after Tupac's death that it just doesn't make sense for you to be stuck on a dude that died 10 years probably before you were born, and you've never experienced anything live from that person. You've never lived that Tupac era. You were not there when he was all over the TV and he was all over news and in the movies. You weren't there for that era, so it just doesn't make sense for me. It doesn't make sense to me that you would just ignore all these all-time classic artists that have come out since then and be stuck on that guy. It just doesn't make sense to grow up with Lil Wayne, to grow up with Drake, to grow up with Kendrick, and to be like, nah, they're all right, but Tupac's better. And again, there are people who genuinely believe that. But for the most part, a lot of y'all are just posers. Like, bro, if you're below 35, you're telling me you're listening to the same 3 Tupac albums over and over again, and that's your favorite piece of music ever. Those are your favorite pieces of music ever, and nothing that has come out since then has even come close in terms of what you like. It's just hard to believe, man. You're telling me you're a kid that grew up in 2007, 2008, 2009, and you don't love Wayne? It's just like you grew up in the early 2010s and you don't love Future. You don't love Drake. You don't love Kendrick. You don't love the Migos. It's tough. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. And so I'm going to end this video off by saying this. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. If you really don't think Tupac is the greatest rapper ever, don't say it. Because a lot of people don't really believe that in their heart of hearts. They don't truly feel Tupac makes the greatest rap music ever. They don't. They don't believe Tupac makes their favorite rap music ever. Because if somebody's your GOAT, that means they make your favorite music ever. And a lot of y'all really don't believe that. And it's okay. You can say that, bro. There's nothing wrong with having a GOAT that isn't the safe answer, or that isn't the right answer, or that isn't the smart answer. It's your GOAT. It's your favorite. Because music at the end of the day is all based on your opinion. So if you like it or you don't like it, it's up to you. It's up to you. So don't be afraid to speak your mind. If you're 20 years old and below, or older, slightly older, there's nothing wrong with saying you think Future's better than Tupac. There's nothing wrong with saying Young Thug is better than Tupac. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know who else. There's nothing wrong with saying Kendrick's better than Tupac. Like, me as a 20-year-old, I don't think there's anything wrong with me saying Playboi Carti is better than Tupac.
What the fucking lie? Just what the fuck I want! They stopped the fucking music! They stopped the fucking music!
If I really, really, truly believe that, I don't see why that's a problem. I grew up with Playboi Carti. I've known Playboi Carti's music since I was 14, 13 years old. Why on earth would I be all of a sudden like, nah, I got to put Tupac over Carti just cuz? No, I don't. You don't have to put anywhere on your list of GOATs or favorites just cuz. You don't have to do that. It doesn't make you smarter to automatically say somebody from a previous era is better than everyone today. That doesn't make you a smarter, rap fan or a rap listener. It doesn't make you better than other rap listeners because you said somebody who was alive 20 years ago is better than everyone nowadays. And even then, like, if you really want to be as smartest, is Tupac even the best from his era? I don't know. But again, that just is my final point. This really video could apply to any artist that was, in their prime 30 years ago, but specifically Tupac, because he is the main answer that people like to give when they're trying to be safe. You don't have to say Tupac's the GOAT. Say who you really believe the GOAT is. Now, a lot of y'all might actually think that. So this video isn't for you if you truly in your heart of hearts think that, even though you probably don't. But this one is for the posers out there. This is for the people who try to sound smart. Just tell us who you really think the GOAT is, bro. Like, I promise nobody's going to cut your throat or anything like that. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Tupac's the undisputed GOAT of rap, and rap is an objective genre that you can measure for quality objectively and be right and be wrong about. Like, you know, maybe I'm just wrong, and there are strict guidelines to what makes good rap music and what makes bad. You know, maybe I'm wrong. But if you like this video, please leave a like, leave a comment. I appreciate it if you made it this far, even if you're only hate watching this video. Thank you so much. Truly, truly appreciate it. Leave a like, leave a subscribe. Have a good day. Have a blessed day. Peace.